Hello and welcome to anyone and everyone who's decided to watch this video. Today, I'm doing a quick little ramble about video for the Transformers Studio Series Q, or Wheeljack, if you want to call him that. I mean, they call him Wheeljack on the box. He is listed as Wheeljack technically in the credits. He's called Q in the movie. He's called Wheeljack in the video game, but we never see him in the video game. He's just a voice on the radio. So, I'm calling him Q. That's who this is to me, not Wheeljack. And yeah, I'm glad we finally got this character to complete the Dark of the Moon collection, to keep getting our Autobots from the live-action movies. And yeah, I've been waiting a while to get this guy, because like most people, I have never had a figure of him, because that Dark of the Moon figure was really hard to find, because it was basically a Hong Kong only release. So, yeah, and I'm really glad to have him. I think he's a pretty fun figure. I've heard people say he's a major downgrade from the original, but again, almost nobody has that original toy, so I don't care. This one's a good toy. Is it worse than the original? I don't know. I don't care. I can't have the original, because the original is just a hard-to-find thing. I have this one. I like this one. I think it's fun. So anyway, he is a blue car. I don't know what type of car this is in the real world. I don't know the name of it. I think it looks nice. I like the headlights and the grille. Fun little style. It's got that Volkswagen logo. Very interesting that they had Volkswagens in Dark of the Moon. I guess they were already starting their deal with Volkswagen. It makes me confused what the Volkswagen complaints with Transformers is, why it took till the Bumblebee movie to get Bumblebee. Well, it's because Volkswagen said no in 07, so now they had the deal of Bumblebee being the Camaro, so it's like they couldn't just suddenly go back on that. But it's like Volkswagen didn't want to be in the 07 movie because they didn't want their characters to be violent. And while Q was a fun little scientist character, or at least he could have been, I don't know if he was meant to be a bigger character in or earlier versions of the script, and then that got toned back later on. But you know who was a very violent character that turned into a Volkswagen in Dark of the Moon? Soundwave. Another character whose toy originally, back from the days of the movie, was hard to find. I don't think it was as hard to find as this guy, but still pretty hard to find. And it has a really good Studio Series figure. I love this Soundwave figure. And we just got a little side by side of these two. Soundwave is definitely the bulkier of the two. Q is much more thin. And I think people hate the Q name just because it's a James Bond joke. At least I think that's what it's supposed to be, like the Q and James Bond who made all the weapons. I assume that's what it is. I've never heard confirmation of that, but I also assume the guy who was supposed to be Mirage becoming Dino was a Flintstones joke, but nothing about that character is even close to the Flintstones Dino. But yeah. Anyway, you do see this square hole in the car. That is for storing his weapons. If you want them to, just plug that in there, and yes, there is a huge chunk of his robot underneath. And yeah, he drives. Oh yeah, and he's got some painted backlights. That is nice to see. And yeah, he's just a fun little car transformer, and I'll always have a soft spot for Transformers toys that turn into real cars, movieverse or not. I like it. I like this. It's just a little blue car toy, and you know, that's part of the fun of Transformers. They turn into vehicles. They are robots that turn into vehicles. And this guy actually has a very simple transformation, a very fun one, I'd say, though there is a bit that is a little bit confusing. In fact, I'm going to do him on camera just because he is very simple, aside for that one confusing part, and we're actually going to get to that part pretty quickly because we had to figure it out. And that is lining up his front fenders over his shoulders, because this whole hinge assembly is a little bit bizarre here. I'm not 100% sure what's supposed to happen. So you do gotta pull out his arms and legs, and that's pretty easy here. Just split this. This is actually one of the most simple transformers I've had in a long time, and I really like it. I think it's very effective how he transforms here. And pull these. Gotta pop up this bit. And pull out his foot. Actually, I think I'm spinning this the wrong way. I think you spin these inside. Yeah, you do. There's more clearance for his actual foot there. I could snap that into place. And then there are like these tabs that do kind of get caught a little bit on his inner leg, but just give it a little push and it works. You do the same over here. Pull the foot. And now you see all that is left to do is his backpack, or at least you'll see if the camera is zoomed out a bit. And this bit is like the annoying bit. Flip up his windshield. And actually, I wound up doing it relatively easy this time. But basically, the last thing is, and there is seemingly a little bit of a clearance problem here, getting these over to make his backpack. But again, it went by just fine this time, so... Okay, now that he's on camera, he does it all just fine. But yeah, there he is in his robot mode, and he looks pretty cool, honestly. I love the look of him. I like the way they did his shoulder pads with them angled up like that, and I think the backpack is pretty fun looking too. It makes me wish he had more accessories, because you can just pull off that piece. We'll get to that later. You can store this back here on his back, and it looks really cool, just him having the rifle back there. It's really fun. Let's adjust the tripod just to get a better look at him. He arguably could use more paint, but I mean, budget-wise, he was never going to get it, so whatever. I am a little mixed on the way his elbows look, because they're on ball joints. Ball joints are a thing again, and I don't know how to feel about that, but it doesn't look terrible. You could also get some extra movement with that transformation joint for some in and out stuff, and we can pull down this very weird stick rifle he has. I don't really remember this in the movie. I think he did have this mounted on his back, which is why that port is there. So I do think he carried this. I just don't think we ever got to see him use it, because the new Autobots didn't get to do that much in Dark of the Moon, sadly. Still one of the better movies, but yeah. And he does look nice holding it, even if it's weird having as flat of a gun as he does. And just to point out, these skirts can fold out to give him more leg movement. It's just the joints for the skirts are very tight. So for a while, I almost thought that he didn't have movement there and that his hips were restricted. And also these pieces from the back of the car like to fold back up, which you gotta fold them down to give him his knee movement. So it's pretty basic movement-wise, but I think he's just fun. He's just a fun little simple toy. And that's nice. And I'm in the minority on this, but I like the electric blue hair, and which is like the most Wheeljack thing about him, because this is clearly inspired by the lights in the sides of Wheeljack's head, since he was originally supposed to be Wheeljack. And the Einstein-inspired face. Yeah, that's controversial. And I'm not even though I like the hair, I don't care for the whole Einstein thing, but that's like so hot Hollywood, because like the Wheeljack we did get in live action for Rise of the Beasts had like the stereotypical nerd look, and apparently that was an executive requirement that like you have to visually show that Wheeljack is a smart guy. And I'm like, Wheeljack wasn't even scripted as doing any science smart guy stuff in that movie, so it's like I don't even know why they bothered to force that mandate onto Wheeljack. He was really just another soldier in that film, but okay. And you can see that Q has this other gun here, this little pistol that he can hold as well, so he can dual wield if you want him to, but I'd have to rewatch Dark of the Moon to make sure, but I remember hearing when this toy was first announced that this is not even Q's pistol. Because it is the gun that went to Soundwave. It is his pistol. Specifically, the pistol he used during the prisoner's scene when he executed Q and blew his head off. Yes, that exact pistol. And yeah, pretty dark. And why is it loose in Soundwave's hand? Probably because they sculpted Soundwave with such open hands like that. Is it like that in this hand? Yeah, it's like that in both hands. I've never really had my Studio Series Soundwave hold any weapons because he's never really needed them because he's got his electric speaker weapons built into his arm that he used in the movie for like a second and also had in the video games. And this Soundwave just never came with any weapons. But yeah, from what I heard, this is supposed to be the pistol Soundwave had when he killed Q, which pretty morbid accessory for this guy to come with his own murder weapon, but plenty of toy lines have done stuff like that before, just not Transformers. So yeah. But I mean, Q is a fun little decent figure on his own, and he comes with an extra accessory for one of the best Studio Series figures, and that's a really fun. I think Studio Series is better than it used to be. I'm still not the biggest fan of it, though. I think I've talked about this before. In fact, this Soundwave to me kind of was the turning point for Studio Series. I think this is one of the best Studio Series figures, and he came out around the time Studio Series started getting fun to me, because those first couple of years I thought Studio Series was really lame, and I'm still not the biggest fan of it. I miss when the point of Transformers toys was to be fun toys first, not collector pieces, and the toys were kind of the secondary cheapo stuff that feels like a waste. And part of it is not just the direction the toy industry has gone. That's definitely a part of it. I really do not like the collector first mentality so many of these IP based lines like Transformers, Marvel, Joe, superhero stuff in general. A lot of other things have become. I think it should be more about the fun toys first, and you can have fun toys that look like the characters in the movie, because I mean they've done it before. But no, now it's all about the beautiful sit on your shelf piece first, and then there's some gimmick stuff over there that might be fun, but most of it doesn't have that much thought put into it. But occasionally you get something cool. In Dark of the Moon, as much as people like to hate on that line, Dark of the Moon toys were fun. They had really nice, simple engineering. The mech tech weapons were fun. It was annoying that the ones with the deluxes couldn't lock the way the Voyager ones did, but Dark of the Moon was a fun line. So I do believe people when they say the original Q was really good. But I'm never going to get to own the original Q, and I like this Q. Basically what I'm saying is Studio Series Q, he's an alright guy. Not the best. I doubt he'll be like one of the best Transformers of the year. But he's pretty fun. And I'm always happy to get another Movieverse character from those first 4 movies done really well in my collection. So, I think I've rambled on enough here. Thank you all for watching. See you guys around.
Hey y'all, it's your Rad Man Blaster here to let you know that this channel is where you want to go for some cool vids. You dig? And if you do, then you should subscribe so you can know the latest going on. Catch you on the flip side.